Imagine a freezing winter night. The wind was screaming against the window like a restless beast, and I was sitting alone in my tiny student room. I lay on my bed, shattered after a brutal breakup that left me hollow, like an abandoned ship lost in a violent ocean. That night, I opened The Prince by Machiavelli for the very first time. Not to study politics, not to chase power, but without realizing it, to uncover something about love, or more precisely, the force behind love. I remember reading a line that said something like, "Love is not a ruler, it is a servant pretending to be a king." Those words burned into my mind like a hidden mark on my soul, and they changed everything. They made me understand that in the raw world of desire, the throne is not claimed through sweet words or pretty promises, but through inner strength, emotional discipline, and a presence so grounded that it commands respect without speaking. Even now, years later, as I share this with you in this video, I can still feel that night. The heartbreak, the emptiness, and then the strange, powerful freedom that came from mastering myself. This is not a lecture, this is a story, a personal journey, a journey that took me from emotional weakness to emotional authority. When I look back, I see the man I used to be. A young dreamer who believed love was earned through endless kindness. I thought love came from good morning texts saying, "I'm thinking about you," from long emotional messages where I emptied my heart like a flooding river. I was wrong. Women, perceptive, intuitive, and sharper than they appear, are not drawn to the man who places himself at their feet, always available, always bending, always explaining. They are drawn like sparks to fire. To the man who stays just beyond reach, to the man wrapped in calm mystery. Machiavelli said it clearly, "It is better to be respected than adored if you cannot be both." And in attraction, this truth echoes with dangerous clarity. Women do not pursue because they are told to. They pursue when something deep inside them is activated. When a man holds his power instead of handing it away. When he becomes rare. That night, after reading those words, tears fell down my face. Not from sadness, from realization. I had wasted years chasing attention, trying to prove my value, begging silently, when the real strength was always in restraint, in silence, in becoming a man who does not need to chase. That is what turns an ordinary man into something unforgettable. So let's begin with the most destructive trap modern men fall into. Unlimited attention. I lived there. Constant texting, instant replies, emotional confessions that sounded less like love and more like surrender. These were not signals of passion, they were signals of need. Unspoken messages saying, "I am at your mercy." Here is the truth. A man who constantly explains himself has already lost the frame. Every relationship exists inside an invisible structure, and whoever controls that structure controls the dynamic. She doesn't listen because she is captivated. She listens out of courtesy, already planning her escape from emotional overload. I know this pain. Late nights staring at my phone, waiting for a message that never arrives, feeling like an unseen stranger in a cold world. But strength is not in endless words. Strength is in chosen silence. Like a lion that does not announce its move, but waits with calm certainty, you must learn to slow down. Let her feel your absence. Let curiosity grow, not as manipulation, but as discipline. When she texts, don't rush. Let silence stretch naturally. Let it create space, tension, interest. And when you reply, speak calmly, say less. Let your words linger. There is a comforting myth sold to men, that constant reassurance creates attraction, that endless validation builds desire, that emotional safety alone is enough. It isn't. Machiavelli would smile at this illusion, because the deeper truth is simple. The more predictable your emotional availability, the weaker desire becomes. When you place someone on a pedestal, they eventually step down, searching for challenge. I learned this painfully. I once gave everything too early. Gifts, promises, unfiltered vulnerability. And instead of appreciation, I received distance, silence, cold detachment. It broke me. Stop being the one who always reaches out. Stop asking, "Do you like me?" Become the man who makes her wonder, "Do I really matter to him?" Unchecked vulnerability is not intimacy. It is self-erosion. Value must be earned, not handed over. Think of ancient royalty. A true queen earned her position through loyalty, patience, and endurance. You must become that king, not controlling, not harsh, but emotionally centered. Your emotions should work for you, not rule you. If she cancels plans, do not react. Do not explain. Do not chase. Remain composed. Move forward with dignity. That calm silence will echo louder than 1,000 emotional messages ever could. Men fail because they react on impulse. Powerful men observe. They pause. They understand that a single moment of emotional distance carries more weight than hours of forced affection. This is not cruelty, it is strategy. A refined precision that elevates the entire interaction. You are not here to be her emotional caretaker. You are not here to fill every empty space in her inner world. You are here to lead, to influence, to set the rhythm with a calm confidence that quietly lowers her defenses. When she realizes that her approval does not move you, that you remain rooted in your own reality despite her tests, something awakens inside her. Something raw, something instinctive. A magnetic pull, subtle yet powerful, as if invisible threads are drawing her closer. I experienced this for the first time during a chance encounter. I ignored a provocative message. Instead of fading away, she returned with greater intensity, her eyes burning with frustration and desire. A woman feels you are the prize the moment she understands she cannot fully possess you. Your attention becomes rare, valuable, no longer ordinary. When she texts after ignoring you, do not celebrate inwardly. Wait. Respond slowly, intentionally. When she brings drama, remain composed. At first, she will resist. She may even resent it. But her desire will grow like a flame strengthened by the wind. Because women are not drawn to men who collapse under emotional turbulence. They are drawn to men whose inner foundation remains steady. Machiavelli once taught leaders to appear compassionate without allowing that compassion to weaken their authority. When this mindset enters the realm of attraction, it becomes transformative. Smile, charm her, show warmth, but only after she has earned access to your inner fire. Offer kindness, but anchor it in unshakable self-respect. She should feel like she is stepping into your world, not like you are abandoning your own life to enter hers. Become the man she speaks about in quiet conversations with her friends. The one who creates uncertainty, the one who does not chase, yet makes her question her own thoughts. These are the men who linger in a woman's dreams, not the ones who pour themselves into endless voice messages, not the ones who send desperate paragraphs pleading for another chance, but the ones who withdraw with graceful silence, never truly gone because they do not need her to exist. Their quiet strength creates a pull, a desire to move closer, drawn by a delicate balance of mystery and control. This is not shallow flirting. It is not manipulation. It is an emotional dance, one where you do not harm her, you do not deceive her, you simply allow her to earn you, step by step. And through that process, she does not become captivated by your appearance or your gifts, but by your inner gravity. That rare combination of restraint and mystery. Perhaps the most compelling force a man can possess. I remember a woman who, after months of this silent dance, finally confessed with tears in her eyes, "You made me feel alive because I could never fully hold on to you." Her words stayed with me. They reminded me that true connection is born from depth, not from surface-level comfort. There is one fatal mistake men make in their desperate search for love. Many believe that total honesty, revealing every thought, every fear, every hidden intention, is the fastest path to a woman's heart. But Machiavelli warned with precision, truth is a sharpened blade, not a cushion for comfort. It should be used only when it serves a purpose. A man who reveals all his cards too early does not build trust. He becomes easy to replace. There is nothing left to discover, no layers, no mystery. Desire does not grow under harsh, blinding light. It lives in shifting shadows. It flourishes in the space between what she knows and what she imagines with restless curiosity. Mystery is not deception. It is controlled power applied with care. And the man who understands this becomes an unanswered question in her mind, a puzzle she turns over endlessly, day and night. Understand this deeply. Women do not become captivated by perfect clarity. They are drawn to subtle uncertainty, not chaos, not dishonesty, but emotional depth that leaves room for imagination. The moment you explain everything, the moment you expose exactly what you want, how you feel, where you stand, you collapse the dream, you extinguish the fire. You become predictable, like a book read too many times, and predictability is the sworn enemy of passion. In Machiavelli's world, the wise ruler never reveals his full intentions. He allows speculation to circulate. He lets others wonder, what does he truly want? Where does he really stand? Do the same in attraction. Turn it into a refined psychological dance, where you are not easily read, but leave her suspended in a state of tempting uncertainty. And within that uncertainty, she becomes consumed by the need to understand you. That is why the nice guy so often fails. He gives too much, moves too fast, texts too soon, and shares too openly. He believes vulnerability pulls affection like a magnet, but vulnerability that hasn't been earned doesn't attract. It repels. It feels like a transaction. What I feel is this. What do you feel? That isn't passion, that's negotiation. No woman wants to be logically persuaded. She wants to be drawn in slowly, quietly, almost against her will, as if an unseen force is pulling her closer. The strategic man understands the power of silence. When she asks where you're going, smile, but don't explain. When she questions your intentions, shift the topic with calm confidence, not to mislead, but to preserve emotional gravity. Because the moment she can fully label you, the excitement fades. You become familiar, predictable, replaceable. But when she cannot fully define you, she becomes attached to the idea that there is something deeper within you, something she must earn through patience, consistency, and effort. See yourself as a sealed journal. An ancient book with worn pages. She earns the right to open one page at a time. Each revelation should feel like a hard-won moment. That's when it matters. That's when it stays with her. A man who reveals everything too early is not deeply engaging. He becomes overwhelming because there is nothing left to discover. When she asks about your past, offer a glimpse, not the full story. Let your answers be brief, thoughtful, and suggestive, like lines from an old poem. Let her imagination do the rest, and the more she imagines, the more of herself she invests. Every detail left unsaid plants a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into fascination. You must become the unfamiliar place she longs to explore. The winding path, the closed door she shouldn't touch, yet can't stop thinking about. True passion doesn't live in what feels safe and overexposed. It lives in curiosity, in mystery, in what the mind cannot fully grasp. She should think of you at night, wonder where you are, what you're doing, what your silence truly means. That fascination becomes your quiet power. History teaches this. The more visible a leader becomes, the less awe he inspires. Too much familiarity erodes respect. Connection works the same way. The man who is always available, always expressive, always transparent becomes easy to read and easy to forget. But the man who keeps part of himself reserved lingers long after he leaves, like a memory that won't fade. This isn't coldness, it's depth. You don't lie, you don't manipulate, you simply understand timing. A well-placed pause can speak louder than 1,000 rushed words. An unexplained look can last longer than any speech. And when you finally speak, your words carry weight, because they are rare, intentional, and emotionally charged. She may say she wants total openness, but what truly draws her in is the slow pursuit, the gradual unfolding of something she can't fully solve. That tension, that quiet electricity, that thoughtful unpredictability, it transforms simple interest into lasting intensity. Think like a wise leader. Speak like a calm strategist. Reveal only what strengthens your presence. Reserve what makes you ordinary. Don't talk endlessly about future plans. Let her witness results. Don't declare how deeply you care. Let her experience the question, does he truly feel something for me? This isn't a game. It's emotional intelligence at its highest level. The difference between being interesting for a moment and being remembered for a lifetime. Because of what she cannot see, because in her mind you become a symbol of mystery, because she believes you carry a truth she has not yet uncovered, because your eyes speak a silent language that pulls her in. and slowly, her fascination turns into purpose, unlocking you page by page, layer by layer. The completely transparent man is appreciated like a gentle brother, but the mysterious man is desired like an unreachable king. I lived this transformation myself, from the dull exposure of oversharing to the quiet power of restraint. Even now, I feel both emotions within me, gratitude for the painful lessons and strength from the control I finally reclaimed. A man who does not define the frame of his relationships is not truly leading within them. He is surrendering quietly, like a kingdom taken without a battle. Understand this clearly. Women are not drawn to men who ask for position, they are drawn to men who naturally lead, not with force, but with presence, with direction, with calm certainty that doesn't need approval. This is how power works. The one who defines the situation shapes the outcome. The one who controls the context controls the direction. This frame is not loud, it is not aggressive. It is the art of calm authority. If she becomes emotional, remain still like a mountain in a storm. If she tests you, do not react. If she challenges your standards, do not over-explain. Hold your line with quiet confidence. A man who explains too much has already weakened his frame, but a man who remains silent and certain becomes the center around which desire turns. Women are deeply drawn to men whose decisions are firm, whose values do not shake, whose direction feels written long before they arrived. Never allow her to dictate the emotional atmosphere. That space belongs to you. If she brings chaos, you bring calm. If she creates drama, you create boundaries. If she pulls away, you do not pursue. Maintain emotional discipline because the moment you mirror her instability, she realizes she controls your behavior. And women do not desire what they already control. They desire what they cannot dominate, yet deeply wish to stand close to. She must feel that entering your world is a privilege, not a simple achievement. You do not lower your values to keep her. You raise your standards and allow her to rise toward them. This is not about being cold, it is about being unshakable. The stronger your inner reality, the more naturally she surrenders into it, especially when she tests you. And she will test you, not to break you, but to measure you. Her subconscious is asking, can this man guide me through uncertainty? If you collapse under pressure, respect fades instantly. But if you remain firm, something deeper forms. Because most men bend, and when you do not, you become rare. Unforgettable. I have lived through those moments, the racing heart, the urge to react, and when I resisted, I discovered freedom. A quiet pride in realizing my own strength. Even when you are absent, your frame should remain. Does she still feel your standards, your expectations, your quiet presence guiding behavior? That is mastery. True leadership does not require constant presence. If the structure is strong, it works in silence. History reminds us that people respond more to perception than to raw truth, and in attraction, this is undeniable. If you project weakness, you will be treated lightly. If you project uncertainty, control will be taken from you. But if you project strength and clarity without proving it through endless words, your presence carries weight. Even silence becomes powerful. If she pulls away, you do not see rejection. You see information. If she becomes distant, you turn inward, not outward. If she tests boundaries, you see influence, not injury. Nothing is taken personally, everything is observed. You remain centered, calm, regal. You are the center of your own emotional universe. You do not chase, you do not orbit, you remain grounded. And the stronger your inner gravity becomes, the more others naturally move toward you. Not through manipulation, but through stability. This is not physical dominance, it is psychological structure. And structure is deeply comforting. Not because women are fragile, but because they feel intensely and respect the man who does not collapse under emotional weight. Do not try to impress with words. Lead through action, through standards, through what you tolerate and what you calmly walk away from. A man who controls the moment without explaining himself commands the room. A man who remains steady while others panic holds attention effortlessly. The man who cannot detach from his emotions has already surrendered his position. Emotion is powerful, but it must be guided. If emotions rule you, others will learn how to move you. Emotional control is not indifference. It is disciplined calm, a quiet inner voice that says, "My feelings do not control me." Life will test you. Relationships will test you. But when you remain centered, you become rare, almost legendary, because nothing is more compelling than a man who cannot be shaken by anything except his own will. Most men react. Silence unsettles them. Small disapproval breaks them. Distance turns them desperate. But the man who remains grounded, especially under emotional pressure, creates an undeniable gravity. She leans in. She wonders. She feels. And in that curiosity, attraction deepens. Women do not pursue emotional dependence. They are drawn to calm strength, to a man unmoved by chaos, untouched by silence, unaffected by fluctuation. He becomes a presence, quiet, grounded, unmistakable. Mystery, a fortress, a quiet stillness inside a raging storm. Women are drawn to that calm the way fire consumes dry wood with raw instinctive force. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear compassionate while never surrendering control. The same principle applies in love. You can show warmth, you can smile sincerely, you can listen deeply, you can even open up at times. But only after you've proven, to yourself, that your inner world cannot be ruled by her moods, her tests, or her approval. The moment a man reacts emotionally to everything she does, he confirms that she controls the rhythm of the dance. But when he remains steady, she begins to question how much power she truly holds over him. A woman is not drawn to the man who needs her just to survive. She is drawn to the man who chooses her freely, yet does not require her to exist. That difference changes everything. Need carries the scent of fear, and fear dissolves desire instantly. But calm inner strength awakens something primal within her, a deep yielding she may deny with logic. She may protest with playful resistance, yet her instincts, her body and her mind respond without permission. Detachment is not emotional withdrawal. It is powerful presence without desperation. It is clarity when others are overwhelmed by emotional turbulence. It is the ability to walk away, not in rage, but with composed certainty. When a woman disrespects your core boundaries and you do not react with anger, but simply withdraw in silence, that silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. She feels it in the weight of absence. She hears it in the space where your attention once lived. Because the strongest move a man can make is to remain unchanged, still, grounded, like an ancient statue. This is not a childish tactic. It is understanding psychological leverage. A man who cannot detach is always negotiating from weakness. He struggles to say no. He leaves with drama. He bends when pressure rises. But the detached man does not fear loss, because his worth does not come from being chosen. It comes from knowing he is worthy of choice and rejecting anything beneath his standards. That is why women so often return to the man who was hardest to remove from their life. Not the one who sent routine messages, not the one who exposed his heart too quickly, but the one who smiled calmly, left without spectacle, and returned unchanged. She could not move him emotionally. And because she could not move him, he never left her mind. The men she controlled were forgotten. The man she could not decode lingered like a quiet phantom. Machiavelli understood this well. Those who master themselves gain influence over others, not through force, but through presence. Emotional detachment does not mean you are cold. It means you choose when to feel deeply and when to remain silent. You do not let the moment command your emotions. You command the moment through restraint, and that restraint is intoxicating to a woman accustomed to men collapsing under emotional pressure. When she strikes with sharp words, you do not defend yourself impulsively. When she withdraws into silence, you do not chase. When she tests with intensity, you observe. Calm, still, collected. Slowly, she realizes she is facing a different kind of man. A man who cannot be baited. A man who does not fracture. A man whose world does not revolve around her emotions. And in that realization, desire awakens. Because desire is not born from comfort. It is born from tension, from the space between what she wants and what you allow her to earn. When you do not hand over your emotional core too easily, she begins to invest herself to earn what most men give away without value. You become rare, not only because of your presence, but because of your emotional sovereignty. The strongest man is not the one who lifts the most weight. It is the one who can sit in silence, heart burning, and reveal nothing. The one who can be tempted, tested, dismissed, and still remain outwardly calm. Because he is no longer playing the game. He is the structure of it. The woman who believed she was in control finds herself guided by something deeper. By your restraint, your consistency, your quiet authority disguised as calm. Detachment is freedom. Freedom from constant performance. Freedom from approval seeking. You do not beg to be praised. You do not speak to be validated. You are already complete, already grounded, already rich within. And when she feels that completeness, untouched by need or insecurity, desire transforms into something consuming. Because an emotionally grounded man is the rarest presence in her world, a lighthouse in the storm, a living mystery pulling her toward deeper waters. Where connection is no longer pleading, but mutual pursuit, fueled by respect and intensity. And it was through this transformation that I finally found emotional peace. I share this not to lecture, but to inspire, so that you too may learn to rule your inner kingdom with the wisdom of a disciplined, strategic mind. No more fear, no more chasing, only calm peak bars.